Nintendo just posted a short new trailer for Mario and Luigi Brothership, giving us a new look at many different characters in the game. While it's only 30 seconds long, there's a lot of new clips here. So ahoy folks, and welcome to another Tris analysis. Rits and I are going to work together to go over everything we can find in this trailer worth pointing out. If you haven't already checked out my earlier analysis on the game, make sure you do, as I'll only be covering new details here. Like the past few trailers, this one opens with a bunch of photos and a collage around the trailer title. In the upper right, we can see Mario and Luigi with their hands glowing, from presumably the opening of the game as we've seen in the first trailer. Down here on the right, we can see a blue NPC that we saw in an earlier trailer. We also have a Toad over here on the right, but the question is if this is in Mario's world or after they've ended up in Concordia. We also have two other characters on the left. One that's another standard plug-shaped NPC that looks more excited, and another down here that looks to be glowing with a white mustache, and seems to be a different species entirely. Inside the words, we can see the fast-moving shot of Ship-Shape Island from the key art, with a bunch of different NPCs. And as the camera pans around past the Mario Brothers, we can see Toad down here too, meaning he also ended up in this world. In fact, we can see two Toads here, so we know that a few of them show up. We can also see a large blue pipe over here on the right, though we're not really sure where it goes. Maybe somewhere inside the ship island, perhaps? There's also this opening down here, suggesting that we can indeed go inside the island. Of course, the big detail here is this large glowing tree. Honestly, I'm not really sure what it is, but it's made out of plugs, and it seems pretty important. Maybe it's what powers the island? Next, we see Connie floating in the air with some sort of magic and a watering can. We've seen a clip like this one before, though we get to see a little bit more now, with the brothers actually reacting to her using the magic. Next, we see a thin blue NPC with wrench shapes on their hat. Based on the surrounding environment, including the sandy hills and this cactus, I suspect this is on Desolate Island. Maybe this is some sort of technician or inventor. We also see them on the thumbnail for the video, so maybe they come back to Ship-Shape Island? We're then back to Ship-Shape Island, where we see the brothers and Connie greeting another character. This one has goggles on their head, and they wear an apron, which is adorned with the symbol of a hammer. For some reason, I feel like they might be a shopkeeper. The next shot gives us a look at a heavily stylized character, a red NPC wearing headphones and a disco outfit, with what looks to be like a speaker or a different style of plug on their head. They're, of course, on a dance floor, although we don't actually know where this is. However, they do look familiar, and that's because we actually saw a blue version of this character in a screenshot from last month. So there's a few of these guys, at least two. Could there be more? Maybe a green one? Anyway, we then see a green plug character with some sort of sprout on their head, and a t-shirt depicting a hammer. They strike Grumbla with an intense punch, which elicits hilarious reactions from Snoutlet and the Mario Brothers. Luigi's especially is pretty funny, and it seems like a throwback to an earlier animation of his. Next, we get a look at these four different colored plug NPCs that we've seen with Peach in an earlier trailer. I still think their outfits look like something out of Wind Waker or Four Swords. Anyway, this blue one has a scar on their face, and as the four of them strike this pose, it leaves me convinced that they're some sort of special team. This scene in particular takes place in the abandoned city on Desolate Island, where the inhabitants are getting captured. So maybe they're some sort of rescue team? Moving on, we see this goggled NPC from earlier alongside Mario and Connie, while Luigi and Snoutlet can be made out just over here on the left. There's some sort of purple damaged tank in front of Mario, which he then destroys with his hammer, revealing that someone was trapped inside. The symbol on the tank reminds me of the villainous group, the Extension Corps, and the NPC saved looks to be the navigator for Ship-Shape Island, given the compass on their head. We've seen this NPC a few times now, so presumably this scene takes place on the hub island, and maybe even early on in the game. Maybe the ship had been attacked and is damaged, sparking the Mario Brothers to help as soon as they arrive, which is what then allows the ship to move at all. We then see the Extension Corps on top of one of the lighthouses that we've pointed out before, and judging by the color of the lighthouse, as well as the green tint to the sky, I suspect it's this lighthouse on Desolate Island. We don't really get to see what they're doing up here, but it's definitely not anything good. The question is if this is a cutscene showing off what they're doing, kind of like when we see the other villain with them, or if they're perhaps mocking the Mario Brothers and the brothers can see them up here. The next clip is a pretty big one. We see Mario and Luigi talking with Bowser and Bowser Jr. This appears to be in Bowser's castle, given the decor. Plus, we can see a pair of thrones behind the Koopas. One for Bowser, and a small one for Bowser Jr. too, which is pretty cute. There's also this floating object off to the left, which looks to be part of a broomstick. So this likely belongs to Kamek, who's probably just floating off screen. But this scene raises a few big questions. Is this just another of Bowser's castles, which happens to be in Concordia? Or at some point do the brothers leave Concordia and go to Bowser's castle? Also, what exactly is happening here? The presentation of the scene suggests the brothers are just having a chat with Bowser. Maybe they're here to ask for his help with something. Neither party here really looks ready for battle after all, so there's clearly more at play here. Notably, Snoutlet isn't with the brothers either, so it's likely that this scene isn't in Concordia at all. But what could the brothers want Bowser's help with? Anyway, next up we see Princess Peach with the Mario Brothers still wearing the bandana around her wrist. Given her pose here, she's likely talking to the others in the Colorful Brigade. Maybe she's leading them, or giving a directive. Or maybe she's talking to some toads, as this seems to take place on Chip-Shape Island. But what about Peach's actions could have the brothers looking mildly surprised? Is she declaring that she's going to take part in the adventure in her own way? Finally, we have the brothers celebrating with Connie, throwing her up in the air as Snoutlet dances around. This seems to be somewhere on Chip-Shape Island, but it's not a part of the ship that I recognize. Also, what's with the long white rails extending out into the sea? It almost looks like a track for the island to move on, but I suspect it's actually just a really strong movement line through the water itself, indicating the ship has quickly moved this entire distance, and they're just waves. But either way, with that, that's everything I could find in the latest trailer for Mario and Luigi Brothership. I am loving everything we've seen of this game so far, and I can't wait for it to come out next month. So here's hoping that we learn even more soon. Thank you all so much for watching this little analysis video. If you enjoyed, please let me know your thoughts in the comments, leave a like, and of course, subscribe for plenty more gaming goodness from me, including more on Mario and Luigi Brothership and other upcoming Nintendo games too. Until next time though, farewell everyone.